In the description under each video there is a link to the LGBT dating Telegram channel. Subscribe and find your other half in life.
Thank you, Mila. You look beautiful today, he said, smiling. Thank you, I smiled back. I looked at Dinah, who scrunched up her brows with a face that said, "Ugh, don't make me throw up." I smiled, running my hand down her arm, and she smiled back. We heard the sound of the door opening, and then we saw Richard, the old man who flirted with me every morning, enter the room. The murmurs gradually ceased until the room was in full silence. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think you all know the reason for this meeting, am I right? I must tell you that I'm retiring from the director position of Yaregui Industry. I think that I've completed my cycle of work in this company very successfully, and I'd like to thank you all who worked side by side with me and made this very important heritage to Miami grow. But like I said, I'm ending this cycle to give way to a new generation. It's about time. I don't want to be bossed around by an old man for the rest of my life. I heard Dinah whisper, making me stifle a laugh. Dinah, I scolded her. So I present you the new director, a very competent and well-known woman, capable of taking our company to a new level. Meet Lauren Yaregui. I heard Richard's voice in the background, and I took my eyes off Dinah, who was complaining, to look at the center of the room, where my boss was, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I felt all the blood in my body stop, I couldn't breathe, and all I could hear was my heartbeat in my ears. It was her. Lauren Yaregui was the woman for whom I danced last night. Dinah stared at me, with a startled look, and then she held my arm, preventing me from falling. What's going on, Mila? I heard her whisper. I was a little out of breath. My eyes were wide, focused on the beautiful woman who was standing next to Richard. She was wearing a tight black formal skirt that reached just above her knees and a black blazer that made her look extremely attractive. Her hair was tied in an elegant ponytail, and just like last night, her makeup was light, but highlighted her as green as emerald eyes and her instigating lips. She had a serious, authoritative posture and somewhat mysterious. I backed away a few steps until I got out of that room. I leaned against the wall, pulling as much air as possible into my lungs until I saw Dinah by my side. Can you tell me what happened? She asked with a worried voice tone. It's her, Dinah, the woman, I said nervously. She looked at me like I was crazy. What woman, Camilla? From the club, the woman for whom I danced last night. Lauren Yaregui, my new boss. What? Oh my God, you're fucked, she said, shocked. I know, this couldn't be worse. With so many people in this world, she had to be the one to be my boss? Oh my God, she will notice that I'm Carla, she's going to fire me, I'm screwed, Dinah. I exclaimed, freaking out. Calm down, Malal, she said, grabbing my shoulders. She won't find out. Let's think positive. Camilla has nothing to do with Carla, at least in the way of being and in the way of dressing. She's going to find out and I'm going to lose my job, Dinah. She won't, and even if she does, she has nothing to do with your life outside this place. I shook my head, pacing back and forth nonstop. What's going on? Why did you leave the room? I heard Allie whisper. Camilla's having a panic attack here, Dinah said, agonized. Allie looked at me, worried, and she approached me, stroking my back. What's going on, Mila? You're as white as a sheet. Grab a glass of water for her, Dinah. I saw Dinah leave to go get the glass of water. Tell me, what's going on? Allie asked again with a worried expression. You know the woman that we were talking about at breakfast, the one for whom I danced in a sensual way yesterday? Allie nodded, tucking some strands of my hair behind my ear. It's her, Lauren Yaregui, our new boss. I saw Allie's eyes widen, and a sudden Jesus Christ leave her mouth. What if she finds out who I am, Allie? I'm going to lose my job, that would be the end. The small girl pulled me into a loving embrace, comforting me, until Dinah showed up with a glass of water. I drank all the transparent liquid and tried to calm down. Let's think positive, girls. Lauren must have drunk last night, for sure, and even if she didn't, Mila, your other side has nothing of you during the day. Allie said calmly, Carla and Camilla are totally different people, at least in my view. Who would have thought that this woman frequents striptease clubs? Dinah said laughing. You're right, Allie, I'll be careful so she doesn't find anything. It would be nice if you didn't start having panic attacks every time you see her around. Great idea, I smiled weakly. The three of us stayed talking near the central desk until we saw everyone leaving the conference room. The presentation was probably already over. Well, girls, let's go to our offices, Dinah said, getting up. Allie nodded and left my side, where she was. Wish me luck, girls. The two of them looked at me fondly. I knew I could count on Dinah and Allie at all times, they would never let me fall. We exchanged a hug, and then we went to our desks. It was evident that I couldn't hide from that woman forever. After all, I was her right arm inside the company. The panic of being discovered by her abused my mind in such a rude way that I could feel my hands sweating and feel a mild discomfort in the stomach with every step I took towards her office. I went up to the top floor, where her office was, and I walked to my desk that was on the outside. She was already inside, probably talking to Richard. Minutes later, I saw the man leave her office, and then he looked at me. Oh, Camilla, come here, let me introduce you to your new boss, he said smiling, extending his hand to me. I closed my eyes for a split second, which was enough for me to create 1,001 situations for that moment, and I guarantee you that none of them were pleasant. I got up from my desk with a weak smile. The man looked at me from head to toe, like he did every morning. I was wearing a turquoise blue dress that was tight on my body, but in a formal and elegant way. My hair was straight and tied only in a part, letting the rest fall on my back. I walked into the office, feeling my heartbeat in my ears. It was agonizing. I looked at the floor until I stopped in front of the huge expensive wood desk. I looked up and stared at her. God, she was beautiful. Lauren Yaregui was a woman worthy of being in the cover of a magazine. Now up close, I could see in more detail her strong, and at the same time, delicate features. She was staring at me quietly, but the same wasn't happening with me. She's going to find out about me. God, don't let it happen, I thought to myself. Lauren, meet your right arm here in the company, she'll help you with everything you need, the man said, introducing me. Well, I'll leave you alone, I hope you get along. Richard left faster than I thought. Now I was there, alone with her. She was staring at me in an evaluative way, and I felt uneasy under her gaze. She got up, fixing her expensive blazer, to then walk towards me, making my heart race. What's your name, Ms.? She asked politely. Lauren had a beautiful voice. My name's Camilla Cabello. Nice to meet you, Ms. Cabello. You probably already know, but my name's Lauren Yaregui. she said, extending her hand. In a polite greeting, I shook her soft hand for a few seconds, feeling sorry for her because my hand was sweating due to how nervous I was. Nice to meet you, I stuttered. She looked at me in a funny way, frowning in a confused expression. Are you feeling okay? You look pale. Do you want to sit down? She asked, pulling up a chair. I can get you a glass of water if you prefer. I'm fine, ma'am, it's just a discomfort. But don't worry. She nodded, but still handed me a glass of water. People feel uneasy when talking to me, but none of them ever came close to passing out when meeting me, Ms. Cabello. She said seriously. I'm so sorry, Ms. Yaregui, that wasn't in my plans. Do you feel well enough to work today? I nodded quickly, leaving the glass of water on her desk. Great, then let's start. You're going to be my partner here, and for that, we have to know each other well. She said, sitting on her chair. Lauren, or Ms. Yaregui like I called her, explained perfectly well how she liked to work, and I realized that she was a woman who was very focused on her work. She didn't like intimacy with employees, and she was somewhat reserved. I lost myself amid her explanations several times because I was more focused admiring her extraordinary beauty. That woman was sculptured by angels, there was no other explanation. Her gaze was intense, but it was different from her gaze from last night. Now her iris were a mesmerizing light green. Her authoritative posture made her look so sexy and attractive that I wondered how many people must fall on her feet every day. From the way she watched me dance last night, I could be almost certain that Lauren Yaregui was gay, but I wasn't 100% sure. She could be simply curious, but no, that woman didn't seem curious or confused. She had a very determined posture to be someone confused. I'd like for you to always stay on top of all my business affairs, Ms. Cabello. I want you to stay on top of every detail, okay? She asked, staring at me. Yes, ma'am, I will. That's all for now, you can leave, she said as she organized some papers. Okay, if you need anything, just call my desk. I'm at your disposal, ma'am, I said, getting out of her office. As soon as I stepped out of that office, my heart began beating in a normal rhythm. I walked to my desk with a little notepad in hand, where I wrote down all of her most important explanations. I looked at the woman through the glass wall that separated us, and I thanked God that she hadn't found out anything. A kind of sudden relief came over me. My job was safe. For now. I decided that I wanted to find out more about that mysterious woman who was now my boss, so I wrote her name in the powerful connoisseur of all things like Dinah called it, Google. I found many articles about her. Lauren Yaregui was an important person in the business world. She won a lot of awards and was none other than the successor daughter of Michael Yaregui, owner of Yaregui Industry, company that had branch offices on Latin America and all the way to Europe. I saw that she lived for a long time in Paris, due to one of the subsidiaries there. Jesus, this woman was so private that there wasn't any news about her personal life. I ran the cursor over several pages, and then opened a link, where it showed her standing next to a beautiful woman. Beneath the picture was a small description. Lauren Yaregui and her companion Alexa Ferrer in the inauguration of the subsidiary of Yaregui Industry in London. They looked really intimate in the picture. The tall and thin woman was holding Lauren's arm with a snob smile. What are you doing? I heard Dinah's voice, making me jump. Jesus, I exclaimed, putting my hands over my chest. You scared me, Dinah. She started laughing because of my face. "What are you doing that you shouldn't to get so scared?" she asked, still laughing. "Nothing," I said, minimizing the page on the internet. Dinah stared at me with one of her brows raised, showing that she knew I was lying. "Okay, I was researching Lauren, but I didn't have any success," I said, dispirited. "You're too interested in that woman, don't you think?" Her mischievous tone was evident. "Me? No, I just want to know who my boss is, damn it." "You don't fool me, Cabello," she said cynically. "Have you talked to her?" "Yes, and I almost passed out in her office, but other than that, everything was quiet. She didn't notice anything." I sighed in relief. "Good, it would be at least comical to see you being removed from her office in a stretcher." Dinah laughed again. "Why do you love picking on me?" "Because I love you, Chancho," she said smiling. "Now I gotta go, we'll talk later." I nodded at Dinah, who headed for the elevators. Her office was on another floor. And then I looked at the picture of Lauren and Alexa again, and wondered what they could be. But anyways, I shouldn't worry about it. I shouldn't meddle in her life. The best thing to do was to leave her alone, and that was exactly what I would do.
Support the channel with a reaction and write a comment under the video. Thank you very much for staying with me on the channel and subscribing.